From Hollywood. Welcome to the Rat's Ass Podcast with Mojo Elliott.
Immature. The man's immature, you know? He's like a fucking child.
Oh, yes. Guilty as charged. Guilty. All right, welcome to another action-packed adventure of the Rat's Ass Podcast on the Hump Day. It's April 2nd. All right, here's what's cooking today on the Rap. You're going to hear Casey Kasem like you've never heard him before. California slumlord Governor Gavin Newsom says he's a changed man, but do you believe him? We'll explore it. And you won't believe how many illegals obtained Social Security numbers during the Biden years. Wait till you hear this number. It's going to blow your mind. And what's this uproar about the torpedo bet I'm hearing? I'll tell you why you can just kind of relax about that, too. Plus, we've got another round of head trauma. We're going to play the secret sound coming up. We'll get into our usual loose behavior, including Saw It on the X, the Celebrity Cheese, your email from our Gmail. Today, we're going to do all hate mail. One more thing, and some shout-outs, too. So just kick back with a cool one and relax. How was your April Fool's Day? Did you get pranked? Did you pull a prank? Or did you just kind of have a dead day? You know, I told you the story on Monday about a smart TV prank I pulled. I thought that was pretty good, but I came up with a better one. In fact, this one might be the all-time showstopper that I did. Took pride in my April Fool's pranks, too. But this one was a good one. Let's see what you think. I decided one morning that we were going to give away a trip to Paris and 5,000 francs. Now, what you count on April Fool's Day is that you find people who have no idea what day it is, number one. And number two, you always find those gullible people that always have the hook halfway in, and all you got to do is tug a little bit. Well, the winner thought that they did win a trip to Paris, France, and $5,000. But nope, that wasn't the case. It was a limo ride to Paris, California to take a hot air balloon ride and 5,000 ballpark francs that they donated, 425 packages of wieners. Yeah, the winners donated those to Skid Row in L.A. because they were vegan. But I thought that was a pretty damn good April Fool's prank. Yep, it was all in the phrasing. Trip to Paris and 5,000 francs. We call it theater for the mind in radio. Well, I'm sure you're familiar with Casey Kasem, right? The warm and fuzzy Casey Kasem from American Top 40, who counted down the top 40 hits from 40 to number one every weekend for decades. And when the show was over, he had you keeping your feet on the ground and reaching for the stars. You know, when I started in radio, everybody wanted me to sound like Casey because we were on a station that targeted women. And the idea was, you know, speak soft like Casey. He attracts women. And you know, we really don't want loud women. Yeah, but old Casey had everybody fooled, man. Everybody thought he was this easygoing cat without a care in the world, but I don't think so.
Now, we're up to our long-distance dedication. And this one is about kids and pets and a situation that we can all understand, whether we have kids or pets or neither. It's from a man in Cincinnati, Ohio, and here's what he writes. Dear Casey, this may seem to be a strange dedication request, but I'm quite sincere, and it'll mean a lot if you play it. Recently, there was a death in our family. He was a little dog named Snuggles, but he was most certainly a part of... Let's start again. From coming out of the record. Play the record, okay?
All right, buckle up. Here it comes.
Please.
Get ready.
See, when you come out of those up-tempo goddamn numbers, man, it's impossible to make those transitions, and then you got to go into somebody dying. You know, they do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for, but goddamn it, if we can't come out of a slow record, I don't understand it. Is Don on the phone? Okay, I want a goddamn concerted effort to come out of a record that isn't a fucking up-tempo record every time I do a goddamn death dedication. Now, make it, and I also want to know what happened to the pictures I was supposed to see this week. This is last goddamn time. I want somebody to use his fucking brain to not come out of a goddamn record that is that's up-tempo, and I got to talk about a fucking dog dying.
Oh, it never gets old. Never gets old hearing that. What I love most about it, though, Casey swearing his ass off, perfect diction. But you know, somebody forgot their Prozac that day, and definitely, I don't think Casey had his feet on the ground that day. You know, if he was still with us, though, he'd be 93 years old this month. God rest his soul. You know, I heard from an unreliable source that Casey was buried face down with a microphone sticking out of his butt. Yes, those unreliable sources have all kinds of stories, don't they? All right, California slumlord Governor Gavin Newsom wants you to believe he's a changed liberal. Overnight, he's become a centric Democrat. Now, I hope you know it's all bullshit. It's just an act. He'll flip on you just like Biden did. Never forget that this piece of monkey dung destroyed California. Billions of dollars have gone missing for the homeless and from COVID, just disappeared. He was useless as tits on a man during the LA wildfires that took out Pacific Palisades in January. But he did start a podcast, though, and washed his hands of the whole situation, leaving it up to Karen Bass. Oh, God. He said he also knows, made this clear, he understands that it's unfair for men to be playing in women's sports. He acknowledged that. But see, that's what he thinks. If he acknowledges, then you think he's going to do something about it. No, he signed a bill for it to happen here in California, and he's not going to do a damn thing about it. Now, he also told us Joe Biden was the sharpest tool in the shed. Remember that? Not to mention when everybody was required to wear a mask during the pandemic. Not Gavin. He didn't. How many times was he got not wearing a mask? He also locked down the schools, responsible for thousands of small businesses all over the state shutting down. Most of them never reopened. The end result, most of San Francisco, Oakland, Los Angeles, San Diego, and the San Bernardino, mainly Oakland, are all shitholes now. Oh, and I almost forgot this one. When Xi Jinping came from China, he cleaned up the streets of San Francisco. And he used this as a line like, we were going to buy this one. Hey, everyone cleans up their house before company comes. Most people don't live in crap until company comes, and then they decide to vacuum. It's not how people live. A week later, the mess returned in San Francisco. Didn't do a damn thing about it. Now he's going to try to slither his way into the White House in 2028. He's going to hope you forgot about all of that. Now, this guy also slept with his friend and campaign manager's wife, too, back in the early 2Ks. I mean, basically, with Newsom, he's a guy with no integrity, no character, no moral compass. I would say he's basically Kamala Harris with a wang. That's about it. All right, I posted a graphic on the Rat's Ass Podcast X feed of Elon Musk showing a graphic to folks attending a rally in Green Bay last Sunday, and it showed over 4 million illegals were given Social Security numbers during the Biden years. 4 million potential Democratic voters. They were placed throughout the United States, mostly in swing and red states. Some actually voted in the 2024 election, too, by the way. Now, the plan was to use these illegals to help Democrats turn the United States into a socialist country, much like how New York and California are run. And the best part was the American taxpayer would flip the bill for it. Perfect plan until we elected Donald Trump and throw a monkey wrench in their plan. But think about this. What happens when all of these illegals that have kids, and they become automatic American citizens? Elections do have consequences. Now, if you want the United States to turn into California and New York, then by all means, keep voting for these radical liberal Democrats in America. Now, the scary part to me is the number of military-aged men who cross the border. A lot of them were gotaways. Nobody knows where they're at, and they're walking among us right now. That should scare you. Now, go check out the graphic, though, at x.com/ratsasspodcast. The Biden administration really did a number on us, folks. They really, really did. Oh, and by the way, this is going to be good. The next Doge project, they're going to look at the politicians who make $174,000 a year but got dirty, filthy, rotten, stinking rich. Can't wait to see the results from that. All right, have you heard about this new torpedo bat that's it's all the rage in Major League Baseball right now. A physicist from MIT figured out how you can redistribute the weight from the tip of the bat into the center, giving the hitter an edge at the plate. Now, actually, this has got people's panties in a bunch. Some like it, some don't. Most don't. But have you ever stood at the batter's box with a baseball coming at you at 95 miles per hour? I have many times. And I'll tell you this, it is a fact that the hardest thing to do in sports is hit a round ball traveling 95 to 100 miles an hour with a round bat. Your reaction time has to be almost perfect, and it's minimal, the time that you have. I mean, here, listen to this explanation.
The distance from the rubber to home plate is 60 feet 6 inches. Subtracting 5 or 6 feet to account for the pitcher's stride, it takes a fastball traveling at 90 to 95 miles an hour about 400 milliseconds to get from the pitcher's hand to the catcher's mitt. The batter is already at a disadvantage because it takes the human brain around 80 to 100 milliseconds just to process the image that the eyes are taking in. On top of that, it's going to take 150 milliseconds on average to get his bat around to meet the ball, and 25 milliseconds for his brain to send the signal to his body to swing. That leaves him with just 125 milliseconds to gauge the pitch and decide whether or not to go for it. To put this in perspective, it takes 300 to 400 milliseconds just to blink. If the pitch looks good, the batter has a 7 millisecond window to meet the ball in a position where he will put it in play. If he's too early or too late, The best he can hope for is a foul ball.
Kind of feels like we were in an episode of Desperate Housewives, didn't it? But you see, this is why I don't have a problem with the hitters gaining a little bit of an advantage right now with the torpedo bat. I mean, pitchers will adjust. Probably throw more inside towards the hands, but they will adjust because that's baseball, man. It's a game of adjustments.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, today's round is the secret sound. Listen close and see if you can tell me what this sound is. Do you know what that is? I'll do it one more time. All right, think about it. Marinate on it. Here's a hint for you, though. This brand was invented in 1935 and became the industry standard. Maybe that'll help you. All right, I'll have the answer for you coming up a little bit later on in the podcast.
It's time for some loose behavior on the Rat's Ass Podcast.
Oh, yeah, we love the loose behavior, don't we? All right, settle down, settle down, settle down. All right, here's what's happening on the Rat's Ass Podcast X feed. Seymour Butts posted this one. What could you say or do that would cause your father to cut you out of his will? All right. Brody Dorman said, total my father's Tesla. I swear he likes that car more than me. I don't think he'd do it for a Tesla, Brody, but Ferrari, maybe. Maybe he would do it for a Ferrari. What do you think? Regina C. said, get knocked up before I finish college. He's already told me that's what he would do. That's why I only do it in the butt. God. TMI, Regina. TMI on that one. Kurt Smith said, punch him in the face and bust his nose because he spent 50 G's on a nose job. Really? That's how much they cost? Well, there's only one way to find out. How's your jab, Kurt? How's your jab? Jacqueline Moore said, marry a white boy. Yeah, why would you want to marry a guy who would actually pay for the child support, right? Yeah.
Hey, heads up. Here comes your celebrity cheese.
All right, HBO Max real-time host Bill Maher went to the White House with Kid Rock to meet President Trump. Now, as you know, Maher's been he's been a tough critic of Donald Trump's over the years. Now, the inside story is that Maher went and admitted that he had donated millions of dollars to the Clintons, Obama, and Biden. And not once did they ever invite him to the White House, but Trump did. See what's going on here? Now, you're going to hear Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Steve Colbert, and Jon Stewart act tough. They're going to say, yeah, we'd never go. We'd never give in. We'd never do that. But I damn well guarantee if Trump invited them, they'd grab the string on their tampon, yank it out, and go. Guarantee it. Now, it appears the queen of the Tatas, actress Sydney Sweeney, and Jonathan Davino have split. She's single again. And that means it's time for another round of Celebrity Bang Pool. How long do you think it'll take before Sydney finds another dude to hit it with? All right, send us what month you think it will happen. When will they show up in the trades? In the sleaze magazines. Send your prediction to us at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. All right? Ex-NYPD, let me try it again. Ex-NYPD star Kim Delaney was arrested and charged with felony assault for trying to run her husband over with a car. Now, I suspect the car was a Kia. Why? Because Kia stands for Killed in Action. Joe Rogan went off on his podcast about how much he loved Fox News Brett Baer's hair. Would love to have that coif. Now, I think Joe or any other bald man would probably be happy with the Raiders owner Mark Davis's haircut. The old, what is it? What's that called? The bowl cut?
Who gives a rat's ass?
Exactly. Who does give a rat's ass?
Rat's Ass Podcast. Email from our Gmail.
All right, this is where you email your questions, comments, and observations to me at the Rat's Ass Podcast at gmail.com. And I respond to them here on the show. No topic is off the table. The more outrageous and salacious is always better. Now, you know by now I don't read these emails in advance. My producer, Fleabag, forwards me your name, where you're from, and rewrites them so I can respond rapid fire and on the fly. All right, Melinda. Oh, by the way, these are all hate mails today, so be ready. Some of them might be a little nasty, according to Fleabag. All right, Melinda G., Dublin, Ohio, said, you mentioned the men's Final Four on Monday. How about some love for the women's Final Four, you butthead? I guess calling me a butthead means that's hate mail, right? UConn, Texas, UCLA, and South Carolina. Those are your women's Final Four, and good luck to the UCLA Bruins. Got to root for the Bruins. First time in the Final Four for them, too. John W. from Lexington, Kentucky said, I found your podcast, and I like most of it, but can you please cut back on the F-bombs? Well, I don't say them just to have an effect. They just kind of drop from out of nowhere, and I realize you're in the Bible Belt there in Lexington, John. But, I had to deal with this with the FCC for years. I always had to bite my tongue. Now I don't have to, But like I said, I don't drop them on purpose. They just kind of fall out of my mouth sometimes as normal speak. And I try to be as natural and as authentic as I can be here on the podcast. But anyway, hey, Alexa, does it say dropping an F-bomb is a sin in the Bible?
It's okay to let the F-bombs fly according to the big guy.
All right, so see, I just got permission from Alexa. All right, Jamie M., Long Beach, California, found your story about fat vagina to be disgusting. Stop making fun of obese women. Okay, I guess you're okay with me making fun of obese men then? Is that okay? Taylor B., Erie, Pennsylvania. You said you'd never drive an electric vehicle on previous podcasts. Now you're a fan of Tesla? Doesn't that make you a hypocrite? I don't think so. Not unless I buy one. Yeah. Mike D. from Tempe, Arizona said, I listen because you say some really stupid stuff sometimes. I do, don't I? And if I met, I'd drop kick you. How big a boy are you? Oh, Mike D., come on, man. Okay, Roy D. Mercer. You didn't think I knew about Roy D., did you, Mike? You didn't think I knew. I'll tell you what, when it comes to music, when it comes to sports, when it comes to movies, when it comes to TV, good luck trying to hang me out to dry. Good luck to you. But yeah, Roy D., if you didn't know, Roy D. was very funny. He was a guy who was like the Jerky Boys and he made prank phone calls. God, I used to love making prank phone calls too. Maybe we'll do some of those, bring that back here on the podcast. But, he'd get the guy on the other end of the line fired up, ready to fight. And he'd just say, okay, I'm going to come down there and kick your ass. How big a boy are you? That was always his line, his in line. Very funny stuff. But to answer your question, Mike, I'm 6'2", 180 pounds. So what are you thinking here? A My Pillow fight at high noon on Apache and University Drive? Would that do it? Yes, I do know the Valley of the Sun like the back of my hand, buddy. Eva T. from Nashville, Tennessee said, shame on you for calling the people protesting Teslas the dregs and sad sacks of society. You have no idea what it's like to be poor and have the elites against you. Well, Ava, let me just give you some background here. I grew up in one of the poorest states in the USA. I'm the son of a single mother who worked 2 minimum wage jobs. This woman went to work at 7:30 in the morning and came home at 11:30 at night for as long as I could remember. Now, that's just one step up from government cheese and peanut butter, okay? Now, I understand the perception here. I live in California near the beach, so I've got to have a money waterfall flowing in my backyard, right? All right, that's all the hate mail we got for now. But you know what, Fleabag, let's do this. Let's add a couple of hate emails in every episode. I kind of like it. We'll have some little more variety with all of our emails that we get from the Gmail. And Fleabag did mention before the podcast today, too, that we never get any criticism from anybody outside of the United States. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. Then I realized we have free speech in America, and the other countries are probably being looked at and spied upon, so they just keep it clean. They just keep it clean. All right, if you have any observations, comments, or questions, send them to us at the Rat's Ass Podcast at gmail.com.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Email from our Gmail.
Oh, we just did that.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
I swear, man, I'm going to make a contest out of that, man. Every time I screw up my sizzle, I'm going to have to give away some sort of a prize. Maybe we get the Rat's Ass Podcast T-shirts done. We'll do something like that when I screw up. All right, we're playing the secret sound here. Did you listen close? Do you know what we have? Listen to the sound again. Okay, now your hint was this brand was invented in 1935 and became an industry standard. If you said the swing line stapler, you were correctamundo. You got it right. You're a rose if you did. And if you missed it, go see a doctor about your head trauma and get well soon. All right, I got to go make a withdrawal from the blood bank, but I do have one more thing for you. The population of Japan is 123 million people, and more than 65,000 of them are over the age of 100. Now, you compare that to the United States, where we have 336 million people, and we only have just over 89,000 people over the age of 100. So what's that tell you? Eat more rice and less Rice Krispies. That's what it tells you. All right, let's do a few shout-outs to the Rat's Ass Podcast faithful in the USA and Terre Haute, Indiana. El Paso, Texas, Jacksonville, Florida, Idaho Falls, Idaho, and around the world in Vancouver, Canada, London, England, Cork City, Ireland, and Madrid, Spain. All right, thank you so much for listening to the Rat's Ass Podcast. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. Be sure to check out the new ratsasspodcast.com to connect with us on the socials. Listen to the podcast. You can join Rat Nation, read the blog. Later on this week, you're going to find out the top 10 debut rock albums of all time. Okay, we're going to do this again on Friday, April the 4th. Have a great weekend. Take care of each other. Oh, wait a minute. I screwed that up, didn't I? I said Friday, April 4th, and to have a great weekend. No. Yeah, I'm going to swear like Casey Kasem right now. I screwed that up. We're going to do it again on Friday, though, April 4th, but do take care of each other, and thanks for stopping by.
The conversation continues between podcasts on X and ratsasspodcast.com. ratsasspodcast.com.